an encouragement for fire. So I think it might be March 23rd. It could be the 24th, but I think it's March 23rd, 2023. Finance Nation here. An encouragement for the financial independence, retire early movement. So, I was looking on YouTube and it was really irritating. I wanted to see maybe some secrets, insights that I have in the past. And in recent months, or just over the past 18 months, it's all faded to this is like a real estate only thing or a business thing. And, um, and then when I looked just now on YouTube, it faded to, complaints about what was wrong with it, what they did not expect, that was negative about it, and all of these um, outlandish things that I was not really, looking to seek out. To find what I've already heard in the past, I have to go back 5, 6 years sometimes, only on stuff that I've saved, but I haven't found some of the stuff, and a lot of the stuff repeats just about, what it is, about attaining a bunch of wealth or income, in a sense, to basically be independent from a job is one definition, and there's many others. But people were complaining, and I don't want to see those videos. I don't want to see why they quit the FIRE movement, or what's wrong with the FIRE movement, what's wrong with financial independence, retired early. I don't want to see people burned out, what's wrong with it, because it's more supposed to be a promising thing to where even if you couldn't do it, then how could you do it? And to basically build wealth. And even if you, like, what I mean, if you couldn't do it because your income wasn't high enough, or you want to take the real estate path to FIRE, because there are many. There's the business, there is other stuff. I haven't heard of people saying some of the other stuff until there was a tipped worker. She was talking about tipped workers, which include a lot of waiters and waitresses and lower income jobs. And I was like, finally, someone, because as you know, if you've been listening to my videos, then I'm a cashier, and people who are in that boat, they find ways to live on a much lower amount of money, sometimes 1,000. At one point, my expenses for my apartment, single bedroom apartment, and everything before the pandemic, before the inflation, was $850 a month. Now it's much more. It's up to like $1,200, sometimes $1,400 a month. So I just have to watch it, and I track my expenses, and I look at everything. I write, I spent $2.24, and I insert a comment in the spreadsheet. What is that $2.24 for? And I review how much of this was discretionary. Is there anything that's different from when I was spending $850 a month on everything? And so I'll sit there reviewing this for maybe throughout the week. I take at least one day a week to look at it for 30 minutes, compare prior years, prior months, to see what's changed, and then I look ahead at future expenses. The one discretionary thing that I do have that I consider discretionary is my Amazon Prime membership, and letting that go. It is a bit of a luxury, and it is a bit of convenience thing. It's I could always do eBay, because a lot of eBay has a lot of free shipping on items that I could get. And the thing is, between Amazon and eBay, if I do need something, eBay might take anywhere from 7 days to 60 days to get it to me. Meanwhile, Amazon is much more prompt, 1 to 2 day shipping. And so, with that said, it really is a bit of a luxury. Yes, there's Prime Reading, there's Prime Video, but there are YouTube videos that you can see with commercial breaks. You can see movies. There's a ton of entertainment on YouTube. So that would be the other thing. The next thing would be my internet service. I don't know if it's a bit of a luxury now or not. The thing is, I got it because the pandemic, basically, the cell phone towers were kaput. And so it's only like $20 extra per month between what I was paying with. I have two cell phones. So I was paying for two cell phones for $70 a month. And now for the two cell phones, I pay like $41. And so it brings it to about $90 with the internet, as opposed to no internet and two cell phones. And what I was doing was one cell phone had unlimited internet with 5 gigs of mobile hotspot, and I could connect that phone to the other phone to get other high gigs, or to get something on the computer. I could just connect it that way and just not stream on the computer, not stream on the other phone, and just stream on one of my phones. So it has been a little bit of a convenience, but at the same time, I am a little bit worried about the towers and the internet going out, because it has gone out on that phone. And so it's like, well, I don't like being without internet, and I could always go to the library. And so to sacrifice that for $30 a month to not have access in the middle of the night to internet, I'm not sure I would consider it totally a luxury, but the problem with it as well that I have is my apartments only allow one internet company. So that's not really cool. And so that's one thing. But I was watching this tips thing, and it was on, I think, Bigger Pockets. And she was talking about tipped workers and trying to basically build wealth as a tipped worker. And I don't think she really delved in on cashiers. And it was in recent months, maybe less than 2 months ago. So sometime between the last 8 weeks. And I don't even think it's that far back. But I was so excited to see that someone was interested in not only them building wealth, but probably they might even mean Flow-Fi. But if you're already, like I said, my expenses, if you've been listening to the whole video, the $850, then someone who has those expenses, $850 a month, of course, like I said, they've gone up to $1,200. Someone who's had those expenses is different from someone who is living on $2,000 or $3,000 a month, and what their wealth would take in order to amass that income flow. So to amass that income flow and to live off of that. So what I would need is essentially maybe $18,000 or less. And with the 4% rule, that is according to today. So, inflation's going up, so it might be more later on. But what is that? Somewhere between $400,000 and $500,000 if it were today. And so it would be extremely risky, and I don't think I would stop there. That is, of course, maintaining my expenses and stuff like that. And someone else who lives off at $2,000 or $3,000 is going to have to go up closer to $500,000 to $600,000 to $700,000. So if they're a tipped worker, if I can get my expenses back down, I'm not sure I can, but that's what I'm doing every week. Dedicating 30 minutes looking over what is discretionary, and then what is the impact of the discretionary. Because do I really want to cut out my coffee and then how much of that did it take up in the budget? And what does that come down to? Is it 60 cents a day and stuff like that? But 60 cents a day, $1 a day investing has a much bigger impact on someone low income. So you can really do that to that extent. So that goes the same way for you. If you're making $40,000, $50,000 a year, that's 60 cents a day for me, but for you it might be $1 or $2 a day. If you did that $1 or $2 a day and you find something that takes one or items throughout your day that take $2 a day, and what impact that could have. So I mean, I was down to the skin and bones on stuff. I was like, and that was another thing I remember thinking back, but now I've amassed a little bit more wealth, so I do feel like I I haven't cut back, but I know that subconsciously when I'm at the checkout lane, I'm like, well, you have money, so, you need to get milk. I mean, I would go 24 hours without milk. And to possibly save, what is that, maybe not really $1, unless it was on, that was what it would be. It would be like, well, the grocery store might put it on clearance tomorrow and I come to work tomorrow, so maybe I can check tomorrow and just be out of milk. And so it's things like that that might have extended me as well to keep my expenses so low, and that cost so much. It was like a huge sacrifice and a wonderful wealth building opportunity for myself to learn and be excited when I saw, oh, I kept my expenses low. I wasn't depressed about it or anything, but going back, I was like, today, so I have the weekend off and I'm off tomorrow, so that's 3 days in a row. And I was like at the store today after my shift, and I was like, get some milk. And that would be another thing. At the time, I had $850 worth of expenses for the month. So I would only spend $1 to $3 a day at the store when I worked there. And I probably wouldn't go on my days off. And so today I spent about $15. But the difference now is because of inflation, I also will probably not shop there. I thought about what I had at my house, and I also considered what one item is that the store is on sale, because this grocery store that I work for changes prices each week. So I do consider Dollar Tree and some other stores, and around my, like, they're all within a 1 to 2 mile radius. And it needs to also be like worth it for me to drive there just for that item. Like, I don't want to go over 50 cents and stuff like that. And I need to have the cost down. Knowing the ounces is my new thing I'm doing. And it's a new method that just came into effect like 3 weeks ago. I have a notebook and I'm like, okay, this is 8 ounces at Dollar Tree. There is one olive oil. And at my grocery store, it was more expensive, but at another grocery store, even with my employee discount, and at another grocery store, it was less, but it had been debit card only there as well, and I do cash back. So, you do take into account, well, is 2% or 5% cash back going to make up 3% cash back, whatever you're getting for that quarter. If you are credit card hacking or credit card, I can't think of the other one, the other word. It's not like you're hacking computers. It is, someone thought that it is more just like getting the game, making money off of spend that you were going to do anyway. And I treat it like a debit card. So if I charge on the card, I go online and I just send the money immediately through bill pay down to out of my checking account that same day. Sometimes I know I'm going to spend it, so I'll send the money before I even charge it. And if it gets, sometimes I'll have a credit balance on my credit card where it shows that the credit card company owes me money because I do this strategy. So I went over to the back on the olive oil. Um, it's more than half the ounces. And so if I got 2 bottles at Dollar Tree, it was going to be like 250, and it's more ounces with those 2 bottles versus like the 284 or 294 at the debit card store. And I don't get the cash back opportunities that I get with there. It doesn't mean that I won't do it there. It just means there are these 3 places. There's also there's Walmart, Kroger, Target. There's all these places that really offer this opportunities to look and see if there's a sale, because that's another thing. If there's a sale, there's Tom Thumb, there's Albertsons. So if there's a sale on that, and that's another thing, you don't want to go for 20 cents if it's going to cost you 70 cents in gas. You would need to get, depending on how far you are. For me, I game it about, if it's going to save me $2, I need $2 in savings. But that doesn't mean that I'm going to buy it if it's still $1 over, because I'm like, how badly do I need this? Will I go to that store anyway? Is there anything else I can get at that store? And the next thing is, can I buy 2 of that item at that store where it's only $1 less, that I'm going to use it anyway to get the difference and cash savings, and is the item mostly usable? So for me right now, I was looking at toilet paper and my employee discount, and I was looking at the 2-ply roll. So it was like 242 plies, and I don't know the memorized amount by some of the other stores in the area. So I was like, okay, I need to look at that. I do have plenty of toilet paper right now. So if you don't have time, that's another thing you can look up on their apps sometime. There's Dollar General as well in this area. There used to be a Family Dollar, but so you can't always go to all of the stores, and you might not always get the best opportunities. And I am lucky right now to live where I have all of these stores within a 1 to 2 mile radius, and it's absolutely phenomenal. So I think personally that I'm not a financial advisor or anything, but I think that the barrier to entry to some of those opportunities, opening a business, depending on what kind of business, there could be a much bigger barrier to entry if you require time, if you have a family. That is a whole extra 40 hours worth of chores. So you would get like a time tax or something where you're putting time into a business and you're not making money, and you're already working 40 hours at work. Then you work 40 hours at cleaning your house or keeping your house in order, and then you work another 40 hours on your business. So you're working 120 hours a week. So that is a little bit different. The barrier to entry, I think, on real estate, it could be knowledge, the learning curve. It could be you need a higher income, or you need higher credit, or you need the asset to have a down payment, or all of these different things. The one thing that doesn't require some of that was where they talk about getting a buyer and a seller and hooking them up and charging the buyer more than what the seller wanted and pocketing the difference, and like keeping them separate so they couldn't find out who each other were, and drawing up the contract and knowing how to talk that way, and getting both of them to, I don't want to say trust you, but really provide that opportunity and to both parties, and treat it and market it as a win-win. There could be a huge learning curve, and I think learning curve is when people find out what you're doing. It's like, no, I don't want to pay more than what the seller wanted. And so that could be, another thing that I was thinking. I think that happened to me when I was younger. Someone said that they would want me to pay more than what the seller wanted, and I was like, I don't want to do that just to find. I was like, I can find properties on my own. I didn't know that some of these aren't even properties that are even listed on the MLS. So that person didn't mention that to me. But they could end up on the MLS, later on if they don't get sold. So then you're still paying more than what the seller wanted on a property that was going to end up on the MLS, and you could have paid less. And so, all of that. But I do think that because of the lack of barrier to entry and the opportunity costs, or going long in the market and just dollar cost averaging, even like $1 a day, $1 a week, $1 a month, into one of the big index funds, the S&P 500 or the total stock market index, and particularly, and just putting in $1 a day or something, and it literally, what it costs is, and the knowledge and expertise, you can go to the library, read books about it. You could say maybe that's not your strategy, maybe something else is altogether. So I'm not like an expert necessarily, and I'm not a financial planner, I'm not a financial advisor. That is just entertainment purposes for my personal opinion only, but it has the lack of barrier to entry because you don't have to have this amazing credit score, and you don't have to have a ton of money to start, and you could still get to that wealth building opportunity, if not within time, on time. And then that was another thing. There's this thing about, like, what to me is so wrong with something where people are complaining about the financial independence retire early movement, and you literally participate in it. You could build wealth at a much more alarming, I don't want to say much more alarming rate, but maybe you could possibly build wealth at a much more alarming rate. But you get to the end of 3 months, 6 months, a year, and you saw where you were at point A, you see where you're at point B, and you have more money. And it's one of those things, like, if you were to participate, and I'm not particular to Dave Ramsey's personality. I don't even like the guy, but that's the thing that's so great about his opportunity for people who join his plan. They see movement in the curve, whether it's when they first start that baby step one, then all of a sudden they never had money before, and now they have $500 or $1,000 or $2,000, whatever baby emergency fund they decided to have. So some people have said they had 2,000, I think, because he's had that $1,000 mark for several years, and with the inflation rate, it would be closer to $2,000. But he still wants to stick with the 1,000, and even though people have said that all the time, so the $1,000, people having money for the first time and then starting to pay off their debt, or when they start investing and doing the steps, they see traction in their wealth when they start to track it. And not just track their expenses, but see where there's money, where their money's going, see their wealth that's growing. And it's growing when you're declining in debt, if that is your situation. So being in the FIRE movement itself, you are basically growing in wealth, in a sense, participating in something like that. And then people go, oh, it's a terrible thing. No, it's not. And so, I didn't know where this video was going, but I just really wanted to say, heck no. I want there to be an encouragement for FIRE. And I'm not sure if I'm going to have this be a part one, if I'm going to say another one video, but I've been talking for about 23 minutes. I didn't expect it to last that long. So, subscribe, like, comment. Peace out.